Hello, and welcome back to our channel Rolling Movie Recaps. Today, we are going to explain an American supernatural horror film called The Cellar, which was released this year, 2022. The story of the film is about Keira and Brian Woods, who move into a vast, lavish, fully furnished Irish manor in the city's suburbs with their two children. One day, their daughter mysteriously vanishes in the cellar of their new house. Keira soon discovers there is an ancient and powerful entity controlling their home that she will have to face, or risk losing her family's souls forever. To know the story in full detail, watch the video till the end. But before we begin, beware of spoilers, watch out and take care. And I hope you enjoy the video. The movie opens with Keira Woods and her husband, Brian, moving into their new house a little ways outside of town, along with their young son, Stephen, and teenage daughter, Ellie. They bought the house from an auction whose former owner was a renowned scientist. Stephen seems happy enough with the new place, seeing all his toys and video games gathered in a specific room that his dad has organized as his playroom. Ellie, on the other hand, is not at all happy with her parents' decision to move to the sold, sinister-looking house away from their previous house and her friends. Brian shows Ellie most of the house, which she disapproves of. Brian then takes her to the best room in the house. Brian tells Ellie that when he was a child, he always wanted a room like this, but Ellie still does not seem to bother, just like those typical ungrateful teenagers who disapprove of their parents' choices and want freedom from them. Ellie is exactly like them. As Brian gives the family a tour of the house, strange paintings of the previous owner are seen, as are mysterious symbols carved on wood over the rooms. At one end of the house, there is also a door that leads down to the cellar, which is old and damp, visibly very old and messy, which adds to the character of the house. According to Keira, when Ellie stands on the landing in front of the stairs, the door mysteriously shuts and locks itself, trapping the girl inside. Her parents manage to get the door opened with a key that hangs next to the door, but not before Ellie has been scared to death, and now she hates the house even more. Ellie unpacks her books and Keira enters her room and sits next to her to chat with her. Keira tells Ellie that she and Brian have to attend an emergency meeting before meeting potential clients the next day about their social media promotion business. She tells Ellie not to worry because they will be back on time. Ellie complains that it is their first day in this creepy house and they are going to leave them alone for the night, all by themselves. Keira asks her what is the problem with that because they are doing all this for them. Ellie denies and addresses that they are doing this all for themselves. Eventually their parents leave, and as fate wills it, the kids spend the night alone. At night, we hear a loud scream, but then we see Ellie sitting alone in a room, talking to her boyfriend on call. Ellie tells her boyfriend that she is alone with his baby brother and her parents have gone to work. Ellie tells him that she misses him and her old life back at their old place with her old friends. Her boyfriend tells her to leave everything and come back to him. Ellie tells her boyfriend to hold because she heard a voice of someone entering the room. Then, all of a sudden, Stephen pops up out of nowhere and scares the living hell out of Ellie. Ellie tries putting Stephen to bed early, but that does not work as the boy plays around childishly. He shows her a goat skull that he found inside a secret chamber in his playroom. The chamber is also filled with strange insignia and an abacus rack. They find a gramophone with a record and play it to hear a man's voice read out a mathematical equation and then count numbers from 1. Soon after, the electricity fizzes out gradually, and the entire house is steeped in darkness. Ellie calls her mother, expressing that she is scared, and Keira instructs her to go down to the cellar to check the fuses. To help her daughter feel less scared, she tells her to count the steps on the stairs while going down, 10 in total, and she agrees to stay on the line and count with her. Ellie keeps counting with a shaky and trembling voice till she reaches the 9th step, and her fear takes over as she shuts her eyes to step on the 10th step. Keira congratulates her and tells her the next set of instructions when she hears Ellie keep counting steps beyond 10. As if in a trance, the parents fearfully drive back home quickly, but find Ellie missing from their house. The parents quickly involve the police, and search parties are conducted in every location near the house. The police also track security camera recordings at stations and bus stops, but no track of Ellie was found. Keira helplessly puts up missing posters around town, dismissing the authorities' claim that it is possible Ellie has run away from home, especially since she has done it once before. The police also let the mother know that her daughter was subject to bullying on the internet, and Keira now feels heartbroken and guilty that she gave her growing daughter so little time and attention. She now starts investigating the house, and going down to the cellar, she notices that every step in the staircase has its number carved on its side. Every step from the first to the second last is numbered correctly, from 1 to 9, but the very last step has some long mathematical equation carved on it. That night, she goes around the house once again, and seems to hear a female voice coming out of her bathroom drain, counting numbers. She goes to check the cellar once more, and in the darkness, kicks one of Stephen's balls down the staircase. Without the lights on, the landing down the stairs is not visible, but Keira is shocked to hear the ball drop much more than just 10 steps, indicating that the staircase is indeed much longer. To find out more about her house, she photographs all the symbols above the doorways outside every room, and asks a woman from the office to find out about them. The symbols turn out to be Hebrew glyphs that do not mean much on their own, but together spell the name Leviathan. Strange incidents continue to occur, now with Stephen, as the abacus beads in his playroom move on their own, and he is immediately taken over by a daze that makes him count from 1 and walk towards the secret chamber. In another instance, Keira herself is locked inside the cellar door and is tremendously scared and feels some strange existence inside, till her husband opens the door and brings her out. The Woods had bought the house for very cheap at an auction, and all they knew was that it belonged to an old woman who was selling it to afford her medical bills. Checking in with the auctioneer, Keira finds out that the house had belonged to a well-known mathematician named John Featherston, a colleague of Erwin Schrödinger, who had mysteriously disappeared one fine day along with his entire family, except his young daughter, and was never found or heard from again. Keira approaches a professor of mathematics with the equation she had found on the step, and is informed that the equation is probably part of a branch of mathematics invented by alchemists, and it is almost like an incomplete incantation that leads to, or at least suggests, the existence of a different dimension. The professor also tells her that a similar engraving was found in a house in Belgium where a family had gone missing very strangely. She tells her husband about all her findings, but Brian chooses not to believe her and instead angrily tries to shatter the final step of the staircase leading down to the cellar. But this only creates a metallic reverberation that triggers the gramophone to play the recorded equation and try to lure Stephen into the chamber, where he is somehow saved by his parents in time. While Keira goes to meet with John Featherston's daughter, Brian now investigates the symbols on the internet. What they learn can be brought together as such. The house that they have bought serves as a portal to another dimension in which a demon named Baphomet resides and takes in people to devour. Featherston had opened up this portal with his mathematical genius, and through that specific equation, in order to cure his son's illness that science was unable to treat, and by doing so, had made a pact with the devil to turn his house into one of Baphomet's lairs. The demon manages to lure Stephen again with one of his toy drones, and the parents rush to find him as the entire house goes dark. They find him inside the secret closet in his playroom, where he appears to be walking into a dark, endless abyss. Keira pulls him out of it and lays him down, but Stephen appears to have been possessed. The same happens with Brian, who counts backward to 0 and dazedly announces the demon's arrival. Keira tries to hide from the goat-headed fiend, but the monster catches up with her, and she somehow manages to escape his grasp and run down the stairs to the cellar. She now realizes that the staircase is very long indeed, and that it leads to a door. This door further leads her through a tunnel and onto an open void on which she sees thousands of dead-like men and women walking forwards in lines, as if possessed, and counting numbers. Some are even counting in billions, and Keira almost gives up hope of finding her daughter, who she realizes is one of the many people lured into the dimension of Baphomet. Then, suddenly, she glances upon a foot with the same tattoo as Ellie, and she finds her daughter in a trance and pulls her out of line. Keira then runs with all her might back towards her house, pulling Ellie along, and the two manage to come out of the cellar door. The lights seem to be back on in the house, and Brian and Stephen's possession also seems to have ended. The family rejoices at the reunion, as Ellie's consciousness also comes back, but Keira wants to waste no more time in the house and leads her family towards the front door to leave. But opening the door, they see a long staircase amidst a great abyss that leads up towards a lit room that looks exactly like the doorway of their cellar. The entire family, including Keira, again start to count numbers, and the house, seen from the exterior, shows that it has been transferred to the realm of Baphomet. The movie ends here, and the ending obviously suggests that a loop exists inside the house, not allowing residents to leave the space once they have discovered its secret. To watch more explanations of these kinds of movies, click on the videos on your screen. And don't forget to let me know how you feel about today's video in the comments down below. Kindly like the video and subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon so you don't miss any new videos. And at last, I will say, stay safe, stay well, thanks for watching.